person to any journalist.
Undoubtedly, you're the handsomest man in the world. But I'm asking you a different question, okay? That's not my question. My question for you is, and it's legit, why do you ban journalists that you disagree with from your political events, like from your convention?
Absolute embarrassment.
Point of order, Madam Chair. Point of order.
Thank you, Chairman.
They love to call themselves the champions of free speech, the last line of defence against the woke mob and so-called cancel culture. Reform UK has built its entire brand on being the straight-talking party, the one that isn't afraid to say what everyone else is thinking. They promise transparency, they promise honesty, they promise to fight for your right to speak your mind. But what happens when that free speech isn't so convenient anymore? What happens when the journalists they claim to defend start asking tough questions?
How do you see the relationship with Emka moving forward? Take a minute if you need.
Sorry.
What happens when Reform UK actually gets a taste of power? Well, in a quiet corner of England, we are finding out. Because in Nottinghamshire, where Reform UK holds real power, they've just silenced their biggest local news source. This isn't just another culture war debate, this is a real-world test of their principles. And what it reveals is a hypocrisy so staggering, it demands to be exposed. This is the story of how Reform UK is trying to silence the press. Let's be clear, free speech is a cornerstone of any functioning democracy. It's the simple idea that ideas should be debated openly, that power should be scrutinised, and that the press must be free to hold our elected officials to account. Reform UK has very successfully positioned itself as the sole guardian of this principle in British politics. They've built a powerful narrative, arguing that a stifling political correctness has taken over the country, and that they are the populist force ready to break the chains. They talk about an elite in mainstream media that wants to shut down debate. In their manifesto, they've even proposed a comprehensive free speech bill to stop what they call cancel culture and political bias in public institutions. On stages and social media, their message is consistent. Free speech isn't just a slogan, it's their core identity. It's a promise made to millions of voters who feel ignored and silenced. They're the outsiders who will restore this fundamental British value. It's a compelling story, but a principle only counts if you stick to it when it's difficult. It's easy to champion free speech for people you agree with. The only test that matters is whether you defend it for your critics. And in Nottinghamshire, Reform UK is failing that test spectacularly.
I'd say.
I don't know. It just needs fixing.
Welcome to Nottinghamshire. After the local elections in May 2025, Reform UK took control of the county council, a major victory that gave them 41 seats and a real taste of power. For the first time, their actions, not just their words, could be judged. It didn't take long for the mask to slip. The conflict is with the Nottingham Post and its website, Nottinghamshire Live, the area's largest news outlet serving the community since 1878. The relationship soured after the newspaper did exactly what it's supposed to do. It reported on the new administration. The trigger seems to have been an article about plans for local government reorganisation, which noted that there were alleged internal disagreements with the Reform UK group of councillors. The response from the new council leader Mick Barton wasn't to issue a correction or engage in the debate. His response was to bring down the Iron Curtain. In a move described as unprecedented, Barton banned all 41 of his Reform UK councillors from speaking to the Nottingham Post. He ordered that the newspaper and the BBC-funded local democracy reporters it manages be removed from all press distribution lists. No more press releases, no more interviews, no more invitation to council events. The only exception? Emergencies, like floods. Now think about that. The Party of Free Speech has told the biggest newspaper in its area that it is no longer allowed to ask them questions. They've been cut off and silenced. The editor of the Nottingham Post, Natalie Fay, sorry for butchered it, called it what it is, a massive attack on local democracy. She's been a journalist for 20 years and has dealt with all kinds of councils, but has never seen anything like this. As she pointed out, most local elected officials accept that negative press is just part of the job. But Refuorm UK, it seems, and believes they are exempt from this basic democratic function. This wasn't the decision of one council leader. It was a move quickly backed by one of Reform's most prominent figures, the local MP for Ashfield, Snowflake 30p Lee Anderson. Shortly after the ban was announced, Anderson declared he would also join the boycott. This isn't exactly out of character. Snowflake Anderson has a history of hostility towards the local press, with his team previously describing journalists at the outlet as lefty out of touch, low-level so-called journalists who should go get a proper job. He has dismissed public scrutiny as pointless. This isn't just a simple disagreement, it's a deep-seated contempt for the role of a free press. The reaction from across the political spectrum was shock and condemnation. Labour MP Michael Payne accused Reform of rank hypocrisy, stating the obvious. Free speech and transparency only applies to everyone else and not to themselves. His colleague, Nadia Wigton, the Labour MP for Nottingham East, said the move sets a chilling precedent and showed the party's true authoritarian colours. The Liberal Democrats were just as scathing, with their national spokesperson saying the move was straight out of the Donald Trump playbook. They've written to Nigel Farage demanding he intervene and reverse the dangerous and chilling decision.
You've banned journalists from your political events that you disagree with, haven't you?
No, in fact, I'm the only political
Really?
leader
At your
in Britain.
convention, you didn't ban journalists and revoke their credentials?
You know, I take the average press conference, I take 25 questions.
No, that wasn't my question. Mr. Farage, we're politicians, so we see what you're doing. I'm asking you a direct question.
Well, thank you.
I'm asking you a direct question, and I hope you can answer it. Why do you ban journalists who oppose your views from coming to your events? Why did you tell your party, why did you tell the local government not to do interviews with your local newspaper?
I am the most open person to any journalist.
Undoubtedly, you're the handsomest man in the world. But I'm asking you a different question, okay?
Day.
That's not my question. My question for you is, and it's legit, why do you ban journalists that you disagree with from your political events, like from your convention?
I don't.
Okay, and you say you've never done that?
I can't think, if I go back the last 25 years, I can't think of banning anybody. But I mean, maybe somebody else did. But look,
I see. It was somebody else who did it.
I do more. I take more questions.
All right.
Sorry, what?
Can you just have a quick chat with you?
Okay, sure.
Unfortunately, sir, you've been told you can't come into the venue today.
Why's that?
I don't know, they just told you you're not allowed into the venue. They told you you're not getting out, exit at all.
Why's that?
I don't know, sir, they're not coming in. You've been told you can't come in.
The organisers have
Yes,
said
they
that.
have, yeah. So they told you, unfortunately, you won't be able to come into the event today.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
I know he's an organiser, so
Yeah,
speak to him. Sir, can you...
Hold it there for me,
sir,
please.
hello. Hi. Can you just confirm that you're not letting me into the venue, please?
Come on, sir.
He's
make your
one
way
of
out,
the people.
please. Thank you.
Come over this minute,
He's one of the people.
Sir,
Hi.
excuse me.
Do you just want to confirm
Sir,
that?
just make your way out, please. Thank you.
Can you confirm that?
Very much.
Just so we're clear, I want to show you my press pass. Okay, so right here.
Show me over here.
Right here is my press pass. You can see that right there. My press pass. I'm a member of the British press.
Okay, yeah.
I'm being escorted out without any justification. You
We've
understand
been
that?
told you're not allowed in the venue, sir, so we've been asked you to leave.
You understand that, right?
Thank you.
That is Refuorm UK. Refuorm UK kicking out a member of the British press.
Make your way out, sir. Thank you.
Very good. Nice. See, I'm being physically manhandled. I have just arrived. I've done nothing. And they are kicking me out of the venue. I'm being physically pushed out of the venue because Refuorm UK, that is their attitude to free speech. A member of the British press is being physically pushed out of their rally during an election.
Let's bring James Ball into the conversation. Now, James is political editor of The New World, formerly The New European, and he has been declined media accreditation to Refuorm UK's conference, which takes place actually this weekend. James Ball joins me now. What are the reasons giving, James? Good morning.
So, good morning. They gave me absolutely no reasons at all. I registered all the way back in May. They had criteria. You have to have a press card. I have a press card. You have to sign up in time. I did all of that. I successfully registered. And then about 2 hours before Nigel Farage got up to say how much he loves free speech and his critics, I got a thing saying 48 hours ahead of the conference that my accreditation was now declined.
I'm sorry, I'm not as familiar with your work as I should be. I'm sure many of my listeners will be. Do I describe you, as a critic of Reform UK, as an independent view? How would you characterise your writing on this?
I'm a comment journalist and I am a critic of Nigel Farage, but I'm also...
As you are a critic of Keir Starmer, Kemi Badenoch and everyone else.
I've written some incredibly critical things of Keir Starmer, and he's the supposed fascist here, and my Labour accreditation is absolutely fine. I also, I called Nigel Farage the most successful politician of his generation just after the Brexit referendum, and they quoted that very merrily from a Liberal journalist. So they've quoted me when it suits them. I mean, several of the Reform MPs follow me on social media. It's not like they can pretend I'm not a journalist. So
well, if you've got several of them, you've got 50%, if not more, I would suggest, because there aren't that many.
Quite well.
So you are told that, then you hear, or this morning you read what Mr. Farage is asserting in Washington. A reaction to that, James?
I watched him say it live, and I mean, it either suggests that he's got a party of 4 MPs and a couple of his mates and he can't run it despite wanting to run the country, or that he's telling fibs to Congress under oath. And I don't think either of those reflect that well on him or on his free speech credentials, which didn't look very good in front of Congress. He got called out for asking a peaceful protest to go there, and I find it a bit odd that he's so outraged that people get arrested for tweets that are a bit threatening, etc., because he did call for Joe Brand to be arrested for a joke not all that long ago. And so is he really a free speecher, or is he just someone who can't take criticism from someone like me who, you know, I'm only a political editor. What can I do to him?
Good luck with that. Even former Conservative leader of the council has spoken out. Keir Coots, who led the authority for years, said, "I would never seek to ban the press because I think the press are a vital part of this country, even when I disagree with you." This isn't the mainstream media ganging up on reform. This is a united front of opposition parties, media freedom advocates, and even former political opponents, all sounding the same alarm. So why do it? Why would the self-proclaimed party of free speech be the first to silence its critics? The answer is simple and deeply cynical. Political convenience. For Reform UK, free speech is not a principle, it is a weapon. When they are in opposition, it's a brilliant tool. It allows them to frame any criticism of their own controversial statements as an attempt at cancellation. It lets them fire up their base by claiming they are bravely speaking truth to the establishment wants to suppress. It's a powerful slogan that costs them nothing, but the moment they step into power, that weapon is turned against them. The same principle of free speech now means that journalists have a duty to scrutinise their decisions and report on their failures. Suddenly free speech is no longer a convenient slogan, it's an uncomfortable reality, and their reaction is to shut it down. This isn't just hypocrisy, it's a revelation. They don't want a free press, they want a compliant one. They want the benefit of saying whatever they want without the democratic responsibility of having to answer for it. As Natalie Fair, the paper's editor, warned, what's happening in Nottinghamshire is likely a microcosm of how it will be across the whole of the UK if reform were to govern the country. If this is their reaction to a single critical article in a local paper, how would they react to sustained national scrutiny? The evidence suggests they wouldn't tolerate it. You might be tempted to write this off as a storm in a teacup, a local council, a local newspaper, but that will be a huge mistake. The ban doesn't just affect the journalists at the Nottingham Post, it also applies to reporters managed under the Local Democracy Reporting Service, a BBC-funded scheme designed specifically to ensure local councils are covered. This means the information blackout affects all local outlets in the area, from the BBC to smaller local papers. Local journalism is the bedrock of our democracy. It's the reporters who sit through tedious council meetings and dig into documents to ask the questions that hold power to account. When you shut them out, you ain't just shutting out a newspaper, you are shutting out the public. You are denying the very people who elected you the right to know what is being done in their name, with their money. When an elected body decides it is beyond questioning, democracy withers. It creates a vacuum where misinformation spreads and accountability disappears. As one former council leader put it, I wonder if they've got something to hide, or is it just a basic lack of confidence in their ability to run the council? This move by Refuorm UK in Nottinghamshire sets a dangerous and chilling precedent. It normalises the idea that politicians can just refuse to engage with any media that criticises them. It is, as the Liberal Democrats noted, a tactic imported directly from the Donald Trump playbook. So we're left with a stark contradiction. Nationally, Refuorm UK rails against cancel culture and positions itself as the fearless champion of free expression, but locally, where they have actual power, their first instinct is to cancel their local newspaper for doing its job. Their actions in Nottinghamshire tell a far more honest story than their national rhetoric. They show a party that is thin-skinned, allergic to scrutiny, and happy to use its power to silence dissent.
You can trust Reform to lead. Councillor Smith, I don't know why you're laughing. Listen, I don't know why you're laughing. You might be laughing now. Let's see how you are at the end of this meeting. You should be here under embarrassment, to be honest. Embarrassment. Absolute embarrassment.
Point of order, Madam Chair. Point of order.
Thank you, Chairman.
They preach transparency while practising concealment. They demand free speech for themselves, but deny it to others. This is the hypocrisy at the heart of Refuorm UK. It's a warning sign we should all take seriously, because next time you hear one of their leaders talking passionately about free speech, remember what they did in Nottinghamshire. Remember the journalists they banned, the questions they refused to answer, and the local democracy they chose to undermine. Remember that principles ain't what you say in front of a microphone, they are what you do when you have power. Now, if you believe a free press is vital for a healthy democracy, then make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more investigations like this one. Check out my other videos dissecting the political landscape, and let us know in the comments, does this change your view of Refuorm UK? Well, if you're in the cult already, probably not.